Hello everyone, AlzaboHD here with a brand new EU4 guide for you here today. In today's video, we will cover how to play as Navarra, an Iberian OPM and the only Basque cultured nation in the game. If you thought all European starts were easy and Byzantium is your definition of difficult, this Basque from the past is sure to spicing things up. In this guide, we will cover how to dominate as this tiny nation, with an easy-to-replicate strategy that will have you consolidate Western Europe, establish an overseas empire, and transform into the preeminent superpower of the early modern period. We will also detail how to unlock the Basque and Glory achievement, which requires us to culture convert the majority of Spain and Portugal to the Basque culture by the early 1600s. Despite their tenuous position at the border of the largest and most powerful nations in the game, I've rated playing Navarra as average in terms of difficulty. They greatly benefit from being European, granting them access to easy institution spread, and they have an incredibly powerful mission tree and events that grant them personal unions over both Aragon and France. Weaknesses include their poor landlocked geopolitical position and the reliance on moderate starting RNG to allow for an optimal setup. When you're ready, it's time to run from the bowls and get started with our guide. To begin our Cervantian journey, we will start by selecting Navarra and playing an Iron Man for the juicy Basque achievement. You will want to restart your campaign until you can hire a level 1 diplomat, and until England rivals Castile. Next, we will look at the rivals of France and scornfully insult one of them for the relations bonus. In this case, we're going to scornfully insult England. With that out of the way, the RNG part of the guide is over, and we can focus on milking our estates for early game monarch power generation. Go ahead and demand as much military, diplomatic, and administrative mana as possible. Before unpausing the game, you should also Royal Marry France, which is possible with the diplomat you've hired earlier. Using the mana that you've just generated, go ahead and develop your capital and throw 1 to 2 points in each category, using all of the monarch power available to you. Now we can unpause the game and fabricate claims on English Gascony, and improve our relations with France. We should also build our army up to force limit. Our ultimate goal is to suck up to France and ally them, and it's time to move on to the next step of our guide. While allying nations is usually a simple affair in EU4, France in the 1400s is an entirely different monster. This is because of an event related to the 100 Years' War known as the Surrender of Maine. If you can ally France before this event fires, you're really lucky, and you can skip this part of the guide. Chances are that England will declare war on France before you can ally them. If this happens, you should not make an alliance with France, as they will call you into the war and muck up your plans. Instead, our goal will be to enforce peace on England once they inevitably get crushed by Charles de Valois. Ho ho ho! If you wait too long, you will not be able to enforce peace, as it is only available when England is losing by less than 25 war score, so keep your eye on it and hit the trigger once you can. As ridiculous as it sounds, England will sue for white peace, rather than fight our scary one-province nation. Once England and France are at peace, send an alliance offer to France. Another possibility in this scenario is that France might give Maine to England entirely, for a 5-year truce. This is functionally the same thing as an enforced peace, so ally France afterwards as soon as you can. Speaking of truces, if you enforced peace or France gave away Maine, you will have to wait before you can declare war on England and bring your French bulldog along for the war. While waiting for this truce, it is likely that the King of Aragon will die, and when he does, you will get an event that allows you to enforce a personal union over their kingdom. Choose the PU in this event. It will give us a free personal union later, though you should be aware that it only lasts 25 years before the casus belli expires. You should also try to befriend Castile and potentially ally them, which will make the next war easier. Once the French truce with England expires, or when you can declare war on England with French support, it's time to move on to the next step of our guide. It's time to put the Basque in Gascony. Declare war on England for your claims in Labour, and call in France and potentially Castile by promising them land. Before unpausing the game, mobilize your troops and send them orders to occupy the 2 provinces in English Gascony. It's paramount we siege these provinces before the frog forces arrive, so that we can demand them in the peace deal without giving them to France. It's likely England will be allied to other minor players in the area, like Portugal or some Irish OPM. With French and potentially Castilian support, rush the rectangle that the Portuguese call a country and piece them out as fast as possible, forcing them to cancel their alliance with the Limeys. By this point, France has probably occupied the lion's share of England's continental holdings. If they need some help, you can aid them and transfer occupation to France so that they can receive them in the peace deal. Once your war score is high enough, go ahead and demand both of England's Gascon provinces of Labour and Aquitaine for yourself, and give France enough of their cores so that they can grant you 10 favors. This is incredibly important, given that we will need to maintain our alliance and redeem our favors with France so that we can continue using them as cannon fodder in our future wars. As for the Castilians, give them nothing in the treaty, as a proud Basque ruler must never trust scheming Spaniards. They will break their alliance with us, but we want their land, so it's free real estate. And speaking of Spaniards, if the Aragonese king has not yet died, you should wait until the PU event fires before moving forward. Once you have the casus belli to enforce the union, it's time to party. But before we crash the coronation party of the new Aragonese king, it's important to wait until the other guests arrive. And by guests, I mean Castile. With Castile possessing a truce with Portugal, they are unlikely to have any noteworthy allies, making them an attractive target by Aragonese ambitions. Simply wait until Aragon declares war on Castile or is distracted by another war. When the time is right, declare war for the Aragonese crown and call on your French lapdog, who will be happy to help you in exchange for the 10 favors you've gained previously. This war is going to be hard at first, since Aragon has a tendency to hoard alliances with beefy nations, like the Papal States, Brittany, or maybe even Austria, as is the case here. In order to win and press our personal union, it's important that we separate peace the co-belligerents as quickly as possible, while also applying pressure to the Aragon heartland if their troops are distracted by the Castilians. The best case scenario is that you're able to white peace or demand ducats from each co-belligerent, while France takes most of the beating. In my campaign, I ordered my modest stack of troops to attach onto the French army, and most of the war was entirely automated. Once Aragon is sufficiently beaten back, it's time to sue for peace and take the personal union. Once Aragon is under your union, you will also receive Naples as a free PU subject as well. It's time to save up your monarch power and transform your rebellious subjects into proper submissive Spaniards. At this point, Naples and Aragon will properly hate you, so it's imperative that you send out diplomats to improve their relations. Before tightening the leash on our new subject states further, let's check out our mission tree. With Aragon under our thumb, we can now complete the mission Aragonese Inheritance, which will grant us claims over all of Iberia. And, speaking of Iberia, you should keep an eye on Castile and Portugal. Castile shares your dynasty, and Portugal often inherits a Trastamara, so be sure to check often if they have a weak heir or no heir at all. If either of these prerequisites match, you should claim their throne and declare war for their kingdom and an easy personal union. In our campaign, Castile is in the midst of a civil war and rebel uprising, and makes the perfect opportunity for us to take their crown. That was surprisingly easy. Whether you have claimed a throne or simply declare war for your claims, it's important to take the province of Vizcaya from Castile. Once this province is cored, you should construct a marketplace so that we can complete the mission Basque Fisheries, continue improving relations with your subjects, and consider developing their provinces to reduce their liberty desire below 50% so that they'll help you in your wars. This development can also help force institutions to spawn if you have yet to embrace the Renaissance. And speaking of wars, as soon as you can spare the manpower and war exhaustion, continue pressing your claims for Iberia. Morocco and Granada make for fantastic targets if they're still alive on the peninsula, and the sooner you conquer them, the quicker you will be able to culture convert them later on for the achievement. With a secure position in Iberia, let's cover some recommended idea groups. Navarra is a well-balanced nation, with many avenues of expansion, be it colonization, conquest, trading, or amassing vassals and PU subjects. For this reason, there is no definitive quote-unquote best idea group to select for them, though I do have recommendations. For your first two idea groups, I strongly recommend picking exploration first, so that you can spawn the colonialism institution, though this can be skipped if you'd rather embrace it from Portugal or Castile and colonize later on in your campaign. Strong alternative picks for your first idea group include religious, for the reduced culture conversion cost, trade, for early access to massive ducats, or influence, to integrate your PU and vassal subjects far more easily and quickly. For your second idea group, I recommend picking a military set, as Navarra lacks access to strong military traditions or ambitions. Both defensive and offensive are good for this role. For the purposes of demonstration, I will select exploration and defensive as my two idea groups. It should be noted that if you do select exploration, be sure to send out an explorer to uncover the Americas, otherwise you will not have a chance to receive the free institution, starting in the year 1500. With our idea groups out of the way, it's time to focus again on our claims in Iberia. Although we've managed to PU Castile by 1500 in our campaign, there's a chance that your faith in RN Jesus is lacking, and you're unable to claim their throne. If that's the case, you still have plenty of time to conquer the claimed territory you have over the peninsula. For the achievement, we need to control at least 32 Iberian provinces by the 1550s if we're going to culture convert them to Basque, and this includes territory we already own and that of Aragon, which we will soon diplomatically integrate. To that end, you should focus your efforts between 1490 and 1550 to consolidate and conquer as much of Iberia as feasible, fully annexing the region if physically possible. You should conquer the remnants of Granada, Morocco, Castile, and Portugal if they're still alive. In this case, we will focus on Portugal, as we've already conquered Granada, Moroccan Iberia, and made subjects of Castile and Aragon. Ideally, you'd want to claim the Portuguese throne, but outright conquest works as well. I'd strongly suggest cutting up slices of Portugal through several wars, so that you can eventually vassalize them, as they make for a useful subject. A Portuguese vassal can colonize the Americas and Africa on your behalf, and even form colonial nations that you will inherit once you diplomatically annex them. As with all European playthroughs, I'd also recommend throwing a royal marriage at Burgundy at this time in the off chance that the king dies and you inherit the entirety of the lowlands, though this possibility is only available until the year 1500. Pray to RN Jesus and you too shall be rewarded. After establishing Iberian dominance, we should focus on building up our navy. With the free claims in Ireland given from the Basque fisheries mission we completed earlier, we need a competent navy of both transport ships and light ships to launch our expansion into the British Isles. Once you're able to do so, declare war for your Irish claims, ship over your troops, and fully annex the weak Irish lords who stand in your way. Although this land is dirt poor, fit not even for potatoes, your colonization range will benefit, and you'll be able to reach Canada, North America, and the St. Lawrence River from this position. Now that you have cores in Ireland, you'll be able to benefit from the North Sea whaling mission, which requires 10% trade power in the North Sea trade node. Simply set a few light ships here to protect trade and you should be able to unlock the mission. After it's unlocked, you'll get a free explorer, colonial range bonuses, and claims in Iceland and colonial Newfoundland. You should only invade Iceland if you desire worthless land though, as this will likely require a costly war with Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, and might not be worth the trouble of losing all of your ships. Speaking of Newfoundland, if you colonize the province of Placentia, accept the next mission, and proceed to colonize almost 10 awful frozen provinces, you can benefit from an insane 10% trade bonus from the last mission in the tree. It's up to you whether or not this is worth it, as you can use this time to colonize more valuable areas in Africa and America that would net you far more money than a modifier and some Inuit 3 development land. Getting back to the North Sea, you can reliably conquer all of Ireland and begin pushing into Scotland and England by the early 1500s if you're so inclined. This will greatly boost your economy in the mid to late game, assuming you push trade to the English Channel. It's time to Brexit our attention away from Britannia and focus on the rest of Europe. With Iberia under Basque domination and the North Sea under new management, it's time to focus on the win condition of the Basque and Glory achievement. You should begin by saving up your diplomatic monarch power and culture converting as many provinces under your control in Iberia as possible. As a reminder, the goal is to convert 32 provinces by the year 1600. You'll need to act quickly and crush any separatist rebels that might refresh separatism in your provinces and convert them when possible, normally 15 years after initial conquest. Likewise, be sure to integrate Aragon and your other Iberian subjects once you can, as their provinces can be culture converted immediately after diplomatic annexation. In terms of diplomacy, it's a good idea to royal marry other kingdoms with disputed succession. In this run, I was able to place an heir on the Austrian throne, which I will later use to claim and shame for a free personal union over the strongest nation in the Holy Roman Empire. Next, we need to abandon our alliance with France if it still exists, and attack them for our claims in Gascony. This is imperative for the success of our campaign, as once we take these provinces we will be able to use a mission to claim the French throne and subjugate them under our personal union, to add to our ever-increasing share of subject states. In a normal campaign, France has a ton of allies, so I recommend attacking one of their friends and occupying them to leverage your war score and take the French provinces you need, without attacking directly and risking a world war. As soon as you have the war score, peace out for the French Gascon provinces, core them, and accept the mission to subjugate France under a personal union. It's time to go Basque to the future, and cover some general tips to round out your campaign and minimize the pain in the Basque culture conversion game. By now, it should be well into the 1500s, and you should start integrating Castile and Aragon if you haven't already done so. This process takes some time, and should be started as soon as possible, normally 50 years after you've subjugated them as they are PU subjects. Be sure to continue to culture convert every province in Iberia that you own, as our target of 32 is still within reach. I recommend deporting minorities to America, which will speed up culture conversion, and utilizing the Dominican Holy Order. This Holy Order can be selected in states that are fully cored, and reduces culture conversion costs by a substantial 25%, so be sure to use this tool early and often. Next, you should focus on consolidating your power in Europe by subjugating France under a union and continuously checking the disputed succession of other nations. Since we have our heir on an Austrian throne, we can additionally claim their kingdom, and if you find yourself in a position like this example with too many subjects, you should really think about taking the influence diplomatic idea group. Moving forward, you can opt to form Spain or even France for more missions and modifiers, as Navarra is the only country that is able to form both nations. Once you obtain the achievement, the future is yours for the taking, and you can colonize the Americas, secure the spice trade of the East Indies, or dominate the continent with your horde of subject states. Navarra is deceptively powerful, and might just be the most powerful OPM in the game. I hope that this guide helps you fully realize their unbelievable potential. Before ending the video, I'd like to let everyone know about a custom PC giveaway from the partner of this channel, Ironside Computers. They've informed me that they have an ongoing promotion where you can enter into a chance to win a free superpowered computer. As with all Ironside PCs, this computer, codenamed Light of the Mists, is custom built with a value of $2,500 US. If you're interested in entering into a raffle to win this PC for free, the steps are quite simple, and a link will be available in the description box of this video. You can improve your chances through Gleam by visiting the Ironside website, following them on Twitter, and other easy steps, like checking out their YouTube channel. As always, a massive shout out to Ironside for sending me the computer used to record these videos, and I wish everyone good luck in the upcoming giveaway. Thanks for watching, and I promise you the next video will come out next week. I apologize about the delay with this one. I've just returned home, and it's time to get back onto schedule. Time to roll the credits.